Got my new production assistant. You ready? Prince Production. Wait a minute. On is Production Junior. I guess you're Prince Production since your mama says she is Princess Production, huh? You like that title, Prince Production? Okay, all right. Hello family, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Angela, and here on this channel I create beauty, fashion, and lifestyle content. I also create similar content on my website, angelamashelle.com, so I'd love for you to go over there and take a look at what's going on. Now, most of you don't know, but some of you may know I do have a birthday this month, and by the time you see this video, my birthday would have been yesterday. So this video is probably coming out on Thursday, and my birthday is the 27th. And it's I'm just happy to be having another birthday. And as I was sitting back thinking about my birthday and thinking about life, and I do that every year around that time, around Christmas and around New Year's, I started thinking about some of the things I've learned as I've gotten older, some of the things I've just hit me this year. And I thought I'd do a video on those things. So I didn't want to write them all down or create a long video. So I said, let me just jot down 5 things that I've learned as I've gotten older. Some of it isn't just because I've gotten older. Some of it is because of life experiences. But I thought I'd discuss those 5 things with you all today. If you'd like to hear what those things are, then stay tuned now. Let's get started. So the first thing that I've learned as I've gotten older, and I think it's because I'm a content creator, I'm constantly shopping and looking at clothes and looking at my wardrobe and stuff, is that style is evolving. I really didn't think about that before. I know it has a lot to do with the stages we are in life, not necessarily with us growing older. Some of it is us growing older. For instance, I still like a little bitty tank top dress, but I just don't feel appropriate in that sort of dress. I can wear it, it'll fit me, but I just am not going to feel comfortable. I'll feel confident, but just not comfortable. I just don't think it's appropriate for a woman of my age to be wearing wearing that sort of dress. And that's just for me. You know, I don't believe in putting my beliefs on anyone else. I'll talk about it, but you know, do you. But some of it has to do with us getting older, or me getting older, but I think it's because of the stages we are in life. Like students will dress one way, and then as a young mother, I dressed a certain way. As a new professional in nursing, after I got off the floor and went into a leadership role, I dressed a certain way in the beginning, because I was still very young and I still like high heel, 4-inch high heels. And even though right now I would not do that because I wouldn't feel it be appropriate, but then I did. And I didn't have as much money as I did later on in my career. And so I was just buying pieces just so that I have a shirt and a pair of pants to wear to work that look appropriate. Then along the way, my dress kind of changed a little bit. Afterwards, when I was able to accumulate more items and I had more money to buy more things that actually they were of quality versus being of quantity. And now as I've reached this age, my style is changing again. Yesterday I was in my closet and I realized I have a lot of neutrals, a lot of black, because black is my favorite color, but not just black, but I have a lot of neutral colors, a lot of beiges and creams and browns and blacks, just darker colors, and I couldn't figure out why, because it's really not my personality, and I think I'm just gonna do a whole closet sweep, so I can tell that my style is evolving. I love the look like of Victoria Beckham. I love the way she puts her pieces together, the way she wears her slacks and her shirts. It just looks so classic, and I love the tailored pieces. I just love that look. So I do love her look. I love dresses. I love a classic fit, but I do love a more tailored fit. So I'm probably gonna go through my closet and just do a whole closet sweep and just pull out everything that I don't feel just kind of meshes with my sense of style now. And I like bold colors, as you can see. I like a lot of bright colors. And I don't think while living in Saudi the last 5 years, I had access to all those different colors. I didn't have a lot of choices when it came to shopping. So yeah, I just realized that my style has evolved, and that style evolves for most people. I think some people do get stuck in a certain era and have a hard time getting out of that era, whether it's their hairstyle, whether it's their style of dress, whether it's a perfume that they've been wearing or a cologne they've been wearing for the last 20 years. but for most of us, style does evolve. And that just hit me a couple of days ago, and it was just strange that I didn't see that before as a content creator who creates beauty and fashion content. So that is the first thing I've learned as I've gotten older. The second thing that I've learned as we've gotten older is that you really must nurture your relationship with your friends. If you have friends, if you want them to be long-term friends, you really have to nurture those relationships. That means making certain you call every so often. You don't have to call every day or every week or even every month, but you all have understanding that you call and check up on your friend. Hey girl, how you doing? How is life? What's going on? You okay? You need anything? Just call and see how you're doing, just to say hello or just to check up on you. And that's because they're important in life. Those close friends will be the people that you lean on during hard times. And I can just tell you from experience, being a nurse, that when I was in nursing school, I worked at a nursing home a year before starting nursing school. And I worked at that same nursing home for the entire 4 years. I was in undergrad, so I worked at a nursing home for 5 years, and then off and on part-time in nursing homes as a nurse. And then working in the hospital for all those years, I've seen so many people come into the hospital and have no one. And I can tell you, if you're ever really sick and you have to be in the hospital for more than a day or two, you need someone that's gonna be there as your advocate, someone that's just gonna stop by, ask the nurse how is everything going, or just make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, making sure, you know, if they're sitting there. I've been in with a friend of mine, and the nurse or the doctor walk in the room and not wash your hands, and I ask them politely, can you please wash your hands? As a patient, you need someone that's gonna remember the stuff that the doctor is saying. A lot of times, if you're really sick in the bed, you're not gonna remember most of the information they're telling you. You're just not going to remember it. You need someone that is gonna take notes and ask questions, or that's gonna know to ask questions. Just somebody that's gonna look out for you, or when you get older, you need someone that's gonna stop by. If you're sick, you need a bowl of soup, or you can't get out, you need to go to the grocery store, that'll say, hey girl, I'll go to the grocery store for you, bring you some groceries. So you need to nurture those friendships consistently. Just not think, okay, I'm a friend. Being a friend is not work, but it does require some communication and some work. Sometimes it requires sacrifice. It's the same sort of sacrifice that you would do for your family. Sometimes you just have to go out of your way, and you know, it shouldn't feel like a sacrifice because that's your friend, and that being your friend, they're gonna do the same thing in turn for you. As a nurse, I've also seen in nursing homes, I've seen patients that are in there for months and years and no one comes to visit. Now, I can also say that 95% of those patients who have no one that comes to visit them are males. I don't know why. I know that we as females, oops, sorry, I touched the microphone. I know that we as females are great communicators. We nurture our friends. We're around, we have friends. We talk to our girlfriends. We're there for them, for their children. We're going to the parties. We're doing all the girlfriend type things. And so we build those relationships, and those relationships last for years. And then when we're in trouble, if we happen to get in trouble and be in a predicament where we can't take care of ourselves, our girlfriends step in to help us out. And I don't know if men just don't do that as readily. I guess I don't know. But unfortunately, I've seen for the most part, when the patients are in the hospital and they have no one to come and visit, or no one comes to visit, or if they're living in nursing homes for extended periods of time, and it's usually a man. And I've had to send patients from the hospital to nursing homes as a nurse working with the social worker when we're trying to talk to the patient and they may be a little confused and there's no one there to make those decisions. So we as a medical staff have to make those decisions for them. And it's always been a sad predicament for me. I think it's really, really sad if you get sick and you're down and out and you don't have anyone that says, how can I help? Or just stop by to say hello and just chit chat with you for a while. So again, I believe in making certain that we make sure we nurture our friendships, and it is very important. It's important for them and it's important for us. The third thing that I've learned as I've gotten older is that children watch and learn from everything we do and everything we say. Everything. I remember watching my mother and my aunts take care of my grandparents, my mother's family, and actually my father's family as well. But my mother's parents were much older than my father. I don't know if much older, but they were more older than my father's parents. But I remember watching how nurturing and how much they care for their parents. And my grandparents had 16 children. And of course it was the girls that were there taking care of them until the day they closed their eyes. Even we were living 4 hours away. My mother and her 2 sisters would drive down every so often once my grandparents started getting, once my grandfather started getting older. Even my oldest aunt, when she got sickly, my aunts and my mother would drive 4 hours. They would just take turns going to make sure she's okay and stand with her for a few days or so. And so I watched that as I was growing up. And so that was embedded in me. That's what's supposed to happen. And so I've always, in turn, as I've gotten older, my mother's older now, but she's healthy and she's walking around. She still works part-time and everything. But I still make sure she's taken care of. And then my daughters saw me doing that with her. And we've already had conversations about, you know, when my mother gets older, what we're going to do. And she's already asked me, when I get old, am I going to come stay with her? And I was like, girl, I'm not that old yet. I don't know. Do I have a whole husband now? So I don't know what I'm going to do. But it's funny how that was embedded in me when I was a young child, and it is embedded in my daughter. And it doesn't feel like a burden. It's just what should happen. And just watching children take in, and they're just sponges with all of the information that mostly see us doing, not necessarily hear us doing as well. But the things that they see us doing, they do those things as well, whether that be good or whether that be bad. And we teach them about kindness, and we teach them about love and how to be friendly and how to be respectful with other people. When they see us doing that, they mimic those actions as well. So if you have children, or most of us have children, or they've left the house, or grandchildren, just be mindful that they're just sponges. And I'm sure if you have grandchildren by now, you know they're sponges, and they'll just repeat everything that comes out your mouth and tell everything that you do, don't they, grasshopper? Yes, you do know. That's it, number 3. Okay.
Have you drank water?
Mm-hmm. Why do you ask if I drink water?
Grandpa Benny told me to ask you, and your eyes look a little bit yellow.
My eyes do not look dull. Yes, I drank some water. Thank you. The 4th thing that I've learned as I've gotten older, I don't know if this is because I'm older or it's because I've lived in another country for numerous years, is that traveling outside of your country changes your perspective on the world, changes your life completely. You really, really don't understand a lot about other cultures until you actually visit those cultures, and you're eating their foods and you're seeing how they live. And it really gives you a different perspective on life and your country, and what you value and what your country values, and the cultural type things. I've learned that in America, they don't value rest as much as other countries do. They value rest, and they value vacations and taking care of your time. In the US, they just really don't do that. I've learned a lot about racism and colorism in the world, and it exists. You know, you see it in the US and you really don't think about it outside of your country, but living in another country, I've seen that a lot, and it exists in every culture. Every culture I visited, every country I went to, I could see it in every culture and see the reaction, especially when I'm with my husband, the reaction that we would get, the stares that we would get a lot of times. It's just living in that country is just full of so many different cultures. I learned a lot about different cultures, visiting countries and staying in the countries for 5 or 6 days. You get to see and you get to learn a lot. And it actually made me appreciate living in America and some of the things that I took for granted, like the internet working 99.9% of the time, or just being able to go down the street and get gas and have the gas be the same price today as it was yesterday, and just feeling comfortable driving, and just taking for granted that the road signs are clear. And it's just interesting, and it just changed my entire perspective of how the world works and how large the world is. And I really enjoyed it, and I plan to travel more, and I think more people should get a passport, at least go one place within just take at least one trip in their lifetime outside of their borders, outside of their country. I know a lot of people are afraid to fly, but hey, you're not leaving it until it's your time to leave. So that's easy to say. The first time I flew, I was not afraid. The first time I flew across to another country, I was a lot more nervous than the first time I flew, but I prayed about it. I was still nervous, but I prayed about it, and so I knew I was gonna be okay. It didn't stop me from being nervous when the plane took up off the ground. But I'm so glad I did. But I think it's an experience that everybody should try at least once in their life. Leaving their country and flying to another country and staying for 5 days is a nice time to stay, to enjoy the food and get a little feel for the culture and just do what the natives there do and kind of go outside of the touristy areas and do something outside of the touristy areas. It's just amazing, the people that you see and the faces that you see. It's just fantastic. So that is the fourth thing that I learned as I've gotten older. And last but not least, some of the most important words in the human language are please, thank you, forgive me, I love you, and I'm sorry. They go so far. People have held grudges for years and years and years. I used to be a person that would hold a grudge. Oh my, I could hold a grudge. And then just kind of one day I realized that person is not even thinking about me. They could care less. Why am I sitting here stressed, or not necessarily stressed, just caught up on anger that's been past, should have been dissipated years ago. And so I no longer do that. I grew out of that, thank goodness. But people hold grudges for years because someone has offended them, and that person may not even know that they offended someone. But you know, and even if they knew and that person came back and said, I know I offended you, I did this, I'm so sorry, that just kind of creates bonds, it creates relationships, alleviates animosity, all sorts of things. So those are some very, very, very powerful words. I think people feel appreciated when you say thank you. And then when you say please, it's not like you're begging, but it's just a courteous thing to do, to say please and thank you and forgive me and I'm sorry are really difficult things for a lot of people to say, especially if they feel like they have not done anything wrong. But obviously if someone felt like they were wronged, sometimes the easiest way just to get past it is to say I'm sorry and be genuine with it, because everybody knows a disingenuous I'm sorry. And when you don't mean it, don't even say it. That just makes the problem that much worse. So a please, a thank you, and then I love you. I think everyone should make certain that the people they love know that they love them. It's nothing to say, or you shouldn't say, well, they know I love them. Well, how do they know? If you didn't tell them, there's no guarantee that they know that they're loved. So if you love someone, I think every video that fly comes in here messing with me. Every video. You see the fly? Okay. I think I love you is a very, very important thing to say to everyone that you love, so that they know. They cannot say, well, she never told me, how was I supposed to know? Because some people, you just assume that they know, but they just don't feel it because you've not told them. You assume, you think they should know it in your actions. But some people need to hear it. Their love language is a verbal, not necessarily action. So if you haven't told them, even though you worked 75 hours a week to pay the bills and to feed them and put them through school, just because you haven't said it, in their mind, in their opinion, you don't love them. So that just is completely based on everybody's love language. So that is the most important one, in my opinion. Those words just go so far in our actions with one another. Well, that's it, family. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Do me a favor. Let me know at least one thing that you've learned as you've gotten older. Try to make it something that I didn't talk about, because I would love to hear what you all have learned, because I'm always open to learning something new. I want to hear what everybody has learned so I can learn that much more. Leave me a comment in the comment section. I would greatly appreciate it, and I'm going to try to read every last one of them. Thank you so much, and no matter where you are in this world, I want you to have the most blessed day. Bye-bye.